Right. Or is this working? Kinda hard to tell. Elapsed time 1 minute 15 seconds. This is dark. I've got the main light on. Do 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 do. Okay. Looks like we're live. Okay, hello. Long time no see. Not gonna have time to stream tomorrow night, so I thought I would do a quick video about this AtariMax SIO2PC, which I'm going to fit into an 800XL. I don't know if I'll get the whole thing done tonight. Probably not, but I thought might as well make a start. So, you probably can't see what I'm doing at the moment. I've tried to move the camera so that it gives you an idea of what's what, but it's pretty hopeless. But never mind. At the moment, I'm taking the pins. I've removed the SIO connector from this board. I'll take this off the desk and see what's what. Right, here we are. Camera's moved. Yeah, forgot about that. Okay, hopefully you can see this. So this is the. Come on, focus, focus. Come on, you bastard. There you are. Right, so this is the AtariMax SIO2PC, USB connector on one end, SIO connector on the other end, which I've removed. I just snipped the pins off and removed the whole jack because this is going to be wired inside the machine, so it was just bulk. So the whole SIO connector is coming off here. We're just going to make direct wired connections. May be able to use these headers on the end because I think it looks as if these are actually designed to pick the signals off. I guess that's ground. Let's see if I can see it, identify these by eye. I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah. Yeah. We've got a TX. It's hard to tell, but easy figure it out with the multi-tester whether or not these six through holes are going to be useful for the signals we want to get out of it. Now I've started using this desk clamp, and it's quite handy. So clamp the job to the desk. Just sort of took me a while to figure out how to use this. Oh, there we go. Right, try and get it so it doesn't destroy anything. That's tight enough. Okay, so just move that around a little bit so you can see what's what. Yeah, who am I kidding? You can't see anything. I've also got this desk fan. This is this thing here. This is an attempt at some kind of extraction, fume extraction. It's actually not too bad. I've got it pointed away at the corner there, and I've tried soldering near the intake draft of the fan, and it does take. There's no filter on it, but it does take the fumes away. So that's pretty good, because after I made those Uno carts, yeah, it's not very nice breathing all that stuff in. So Uno carts. Speaking of Uno carts, yes, never mind Uno carts. Forget Uno carts for a minute. The thing I wanted to show you was this. I want to plug this. Now this is Robin Edwards' brand new 3D printed shell for the original Ultimate cart. So not the Uno cart, but the Ultimate cart, which was the prior project. He just sent me this today, just turned up today, and it fits in all Ataris very nicely, so there's no snagging problems with it, 1200 XLs or anything like that. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll show you a close-up now. There we are. So this is actually printed with 2 different coloured filaments. It's absolutely beautiful when you look at it close up. If it'll focus. There we are. Now look at that. The texture, the colour. Look how beautiful that is. Very clever. And it's got an aperture in the back for the SD card and the button. The button on this one's a little bit short since I filed it down, because it was... I also have this case, and this case has a plunger in the end. So, but yeah, I've test fitted this in an 800, 1200 XL, XCGS, you name it. Every Atari, except the 400, which I don't own. But yeah, it fits everything, and I know Robin is offering these for sale at a very reasonable price on the Atari forum. And if you have an Ultimate cart which you previously packaged up in an XEGS cartridge package, or you don't have a cartridge case at all for the thing, I heartily recommend you purchase one of these from Robin if you're not able to 3D print them yourself, because they are really high quality and very nice indeed. So with that out of the way, let us continue removing the pins from this board. I figure by the time anybody turns up in chat... What am I doing? Pulling the pins out first. And this microphone's going to snag on my chin. Right. Try again. I should have put this camera on a tripod for this, but never mind. I'm just going to whip these pins out quickly, then we're going to get rid of the solder, and then we'll open the machine up and we'll figure out where we're going to put it. The fiddliest part of this isn't going to be wiring the SIO signals to the computer. The trickiest part is going to be bringing the USB port out to the outside of the case, and the LEDs as well. I think we want some activity LEDs that we can look at. Yeah, have to do this by guesswork. Still haven't got the half decent solder pump, so this is damn. There we go. We get there in the end. I'm sick and tired of working on the wrong side of the board with this thing. It's just ridiculous. So we're going to get something some sort of desoldering device that can be used from the same side of the board as we're looking at. That's going to be a big improvement. It's just complete guesswork where this goes. And I've seen it guessing reasonably well because the solder's coming out. But yeah, we're attending a wedding reception on Friday evening, so there'll be no streaming tomorrow night. And for the past week or so, I've been testing those Uno cartridges, and eventually found them all to work. Because as far as I'm concerned, if it doesn't work for half an hour, it doesn't work. I have received things in the past, hand-assembled stuff usually, where it's worked fine at first, and of course, after an hour or so, or however long, some kind of thermal issue crops up. There we go, that'll do. There we go. Not perfect, but good enough for rock and roll. So yeah, it worked for half an hour or so, and then all sorts of weird stability issues crop up and the machine crashes for no apparent reason. I had that happen a few times with various pieces of equipment. Where's my wick? Give this a bit of wicking. And also the other night, spent quite a bit of time cleaning up this room because it was just a mess. There was wick all over the place from making those Uno carts, just bits of wire and wick and the remnants of component spools and I'm going to do some. I think it's time to bring out the blue tack, actually. It's time to bring out the blue tack so you can see what's going on. I'm going to move to the blue tack. Right, remove this camera. And unclip. I'll do that a little bit more professional. Come on. There we go. Undo that. Prop that up here, point that down there, and there we are. That's better. Good. Right, that's better. Where was I? Oh yeah, cleaned the place up. Looks a hell of a lot better. I'm gonna have to get the solder pump back on this thing. Hi, Steve. We have somebody in chat. How are you, Steve? I'm just getting the surplus solder out of these holes, and then hopefully I'll be able to get things in a position on the desk where you can actually see what I'm doing. There we go, that's good enough. Good enough for now. Yeah. I'm doing well, thank you, Steve. Feeling a lot better now that the room's a little tidier, and you can see the wood for the trees, and the Uno carts are finished, and oh, it's just like a fresh start. Right. Let's take this machine apart and have a look and see if it works and all that kind of thing. I think I did test this already, actually, so always a good idea. So let's get the bottom off here. I'll go and get my screwdriver. So the Atari video music thing, if I didn't already have an Ultimate cart, I would have had a Uno, I think. Yeah, I'm trying to remember offhand. I'm trying to remember offhand. Is the Ultimate cart handles? Let's think. The Ultimate cart handles bigger ROMs, I think, than the Uno, because the Uno's got a chip with less RAM in it. But the Uno cart does ATRs because it's got a soft OS in it. So each one has its pros and cons. The ATR thing for me wasn't such a big deal because I've got so many machines with Ultimate 1 megabyte and Side 2 cartridges, and so the ATR thing is not such a big deal. But yeah, up the exposure a bit, do we, again? But they are really nice. They're really nice. Doing auto exposure on here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Turn that off. Okay. Now here we go. Lag with gain. Oh God. Let's try that again. Turn that off. Turn that off. Exposure. Gain down. Up, 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 up. Alright, how's that? Yeah, these webcams get very laggy if you turn the gain up on them and the exposure. Terrible. Need better light in this room. But yeah, that cartridge case is it's one of the best I've seen so far. Very nice. Just how 3D printing has completely come of age now because of the some of the stuff. Here we are. This has already got let's have a look. Yeah, the quality of the printouts now, even using a cheap printer, if you set it up correctly, which Robin clearly has, is really exceptional. Very nice. Okay, so where are we going to fit this thing? I think the sensible thing to do would be to put it near the SIO connector, but where we're going to bring out the USB port, well, I would say a good place for it would be right above the SIO connector. That would be a nice place to put it because, well, it's IO. It's seems to make sense. So we could have a hole there, and we could. The thing we've got to think about is, are we going to be able to fit the board in a position which brings it out in the correct place? And has the board got any mounting holes on it? It looks great and so orange. Oh, the Uno car shells, yeah, these things. Those ones. There's one blue one as well. I'll show you that one. There's a blue one as well, which was like a one-off sample that Robin sent me. I prefer the orange, but yeah, well, it's blue. So there it is. But this gold thing, it's just, I'm quite taken with the different coloured filament used for the text. Very nice. Derailed you? No, not to worry, Steve. I feel derailed anyway because it's funny how quickly you get out of practice at this. I haven't done a stream since about 10 days ago, and yeah, the momentum's gone, but there's plenty of interesting stuff coming up anyway. So I've got let's think, an XEGS possibly with an ultimate 1 megabyte in it. What else? Some all kinds of bits and bobs. Another Arabic keyboard. Should be interesting. So yeah, there's no mounting holes at all on this board, as you can see. So we're going to have to rig up some method of sticking this in the machine, and probably the method used is going to be hot glue, I would imagine. I'm just trying to think about how I can bring this. We could put the thing here where the RF modulator used to be. We could put it there, and we could even reuse the hole previously occupied by the RF modulator here, and that would enable us to kind of mount the thing. Because, well, there's no way I'm going to be drilling holes in this. There's going to be no holes in here because there's nowhere to put any holes. So we're going to be we're going to be gluing this thing. This is going to be glued in, hot glued in somewhere. So is it going to be hot glued in here? Or is it going to be hot glued in here? My preference is for above the SIO connector, because imagine you're going to have a USB port right above there, and I think, will it clear everything? Yeah, it'll clear everything. There's going to be no obstruction here, and then we can just run wires. But it's making the thing secure enough. I mean, how secure is this going to be? Just hot glued to the top of the SIO connector. That's the problem. So if we put it here, we can hot glue it to the motherboard. It'll be pretty strong. You can see this machine has a UAV board in it as well. One of Brian's video upgrades. Let's see if we can do a quick test and show you the video quality on this thing. Might as well plug this as well. I'm a little bit troubled as well because this monitor here, this this LG, what is it? M227WD. I've had the thing for about, how long? Had this monitor for about 8 years now, and it still works. And I wish I had bought several of them because it's just so versatile. It's got SCART inputs, S-video input, composite input, and it works with pretty much everything. It works with an ST in high res, low res, medium res, VBXE, S-video Ataris, composite Ataris. But the thing developed a break on one of the backlight solder joints on one of the backlights on the cold cathode tubes after about 2 or 3 years. So I retired it, and in the interim I used CRTs when I was in the other room. But one day I decided to have a look at the thing, and I dismantled the whole panel to get at this cold cathode tube, and I fixed it. Just needed a dab of solder, and then of course I had to reassemble all the layers without getting dust in them, and that fixed the problem. But when I'm turning the thing on now, it's now getting a backlight flicker again. It doesn't last very long, but it does flicker, so I'm beginning to suspect that maybe the other end of another contact at the other end of the cold cathode tube might have broken. Not really looking forward to having to pull the panel apart again, but it's worth it with this monitor because it's marvelous. So let's see if we can sample the video quality here. Let's have a look. Video capture device, easy cap USB. Deactivate, activate. Okay. Power on. Oh, that's fun. Does it even work? Oh, what the hell? The GTI chips fell out. Huh. Can you see this? Look at this. Oh, you can't see this, can you? There, look. One side of the GTI chips popped clean out of the socket. No wonder it doesn't turn on. Yeah, this, if you can find it, there's 2 different models of this monitor, M227WD. Now the other one, what's the other model number? It's got a suffix after it. It's M227W. It's either a WP or a WD something, and that doesn't have S-video on it at all. They dropped S-video, which makes the thing, well, to me, next to useless. So this one has got the S-video input on it, and it's full HD monitor. It's obviously got DVI, VGA. I raved on about it on the Atari Age forum a few years ago when I first bought it, and it's absolutely superb, so versatile. Right, let's put this GTI chip back in. Ow! Hello, Atari fan, Atari 8-bit. Right, so for those of you who just turned up, we are doing laying the groundwork for putting this AtariMax SIO2PC device inside this machine. Now I'm trying to figure out initially, because I don't think I'm going to get much of this done tonight. Just want to get the ball rolling, really. where to put it. Now it's got no mounting holes, so it's not going to go on pylons. It's going to have to be hot glued in. It's not going to be hot glued to the case, it's going to be hot glued to the motherboard somewhere. I really want to put it here so that the USB port can poke out of a hole above the SIO connector, but that's going to be pretty flimsy hot gluing that one edge of this board to this SIO connector, so logic tells me that it might be better to actually put the thing here. So, opinions? Any ideas? Maybe something I haven't thought of, or I don't know. Right, so let's see if we can get this thing running. I don't know why the GTI chips fell out. Unless it fell out when it was shipping, it seems a bit odd. Let's turn it on and see what we get. There we are. Wow, how old is this Ultimate 1 megabyte BIOS? It's got the wrong one. Alright, let's put the keyboard in. A quick look at the video quality on this machine. These damn keyboard edge connectors are absolutely horrendous. Right, there we go. Right. Switch her on. So this is a machine with a UAV capture device. UAV S-video board. And hopefully you can see how nice the video quality is on these things. Very, very nice indeed. We'll go into the BIOS. This desperately needs a BIOS update. It's absolutely ancient. But it's very crisp, very clear. Color's quite nice. I mean, there's none of those jail bar things that you get with a lot of these machines. Absolutely marvelous. I've still got another one of these boards. I'm going to have to put it into a machine, but the question is which one. It's really, really nice. So there you are. That's UAV video output. UAV video output, so you should buy one of those as well. I'm not sponsored by any of these manufacturers, but they produce good stuff, so I will happily recommend Brian's UAV board. Yeah, it is nice, Steve, isn't it? Nice quality image. I'd forgotten how nice it was. I've got one. This is my box of bits. This box of bits. This box is probably worth about 400 quid. Right, we've got a VBXE, Repeaters, yeah, still isn't in the machine. 2 Ultimate 1 megabytes, and yeah, we are. Another UAV board. So I'm gonna have to install that in something because they are really, really nice. Hi Alexei, how are you? Gonna feel really rotten curtailing this stream because I don't think we're going to get much of this done tonight. So where do you think, come on, if I get one, do you fancy fitting it and fixing a joystick port in my 130XE? Do you mean a UAV, Steve? Yeah, surely we'll do that, no problem. No problem at all. So where are we going to put this thing? Where should we put it? Should we put it here? Or should we put it here? It's going to be stronger if it's down here. It's going to be hot glued flat to the board. But if it's here, it just seems to make more sense because it's a... but. Would that create... Well, no, it wouldn't create any problems with... It would block... The USB cable would block something like this, which is a S drive squared. What is it? S drive squared? I've still got to review this. Say if you were going to put one of these in the back, you wouldn't really want anything above the SIO connector. Atari 8-bit says hot glued to the board. So you think, Atari 8-bit, you think over this way. So just open up that. I'm going to unplug this because we know it works anyway. So you would say open up that RF modulator hole a bit, because it is going to line up quite well, reasonably well, and then just hot glue it there. Yeah, well, it's not going to block anything, is it? So that's probably... I think you're right, you know. I think you're right. So, now I do have a registered copy of Ape somewhere. Hi Mopes, how are you? I do have a registered copy of Ape somewhere, which I'm going to have to dig out so we can test this. And I also need a diagram of the SIO connector, because I can't remember the pin out by hand, off the top of my head rather. Atari, what the hell have I done here? Right, Atari SIO pinout. Images. Oh, that's a nice graphic. Okay, so Alexi says, just last week add Ultimate 1 megabyte to my Atari 800 XL and enjoyed high-speed SIO. That's awesome, excellent. I've got an update for the firmware, which I've been pottering about with for the past few days, or quite a while really. And one of the things I added was a kind of a nicer sort of boot screen where you can press D when you boot the machine, and it allows you to pick which drive or partition or ATR the system boots from. And then I got kind of wrapped up in tweaking the display and making the transitions a bit smoother and stuff like that. So I've just got into that sort of fiddling stage where I need to stop doing all that and just get the thing finished. It's nearly done anyway. It's be ready soon. So I'm glad Ultimate 1 megabyte is working for you. So yeah, I'll upload all that stuff to the website reasonably soon. I've just got to test it again in the incognito and one thing and another. So we're going to have to run wires all the way across to this connector here. I've just bought some new ribbon cable, but I don't want to cut into that yet. So let's go and have a look, see if we can find some cable. Some junky old cable that we don't mind chopping up. Is this going to be long enough? Nah, no way. Let's see what kind of cable this is. That'll do. Good enough. You want 5, don't you? 5. Yeah. Yes, but with some strange behaviour. If I keep backward metal shield, I've got EMV on pokey and phantom key presses. So if you keep the shield on, then you get the problems. So the problems go away if you take the shield off. Do you get phantom key presses in the sort of anywhere in the system, or just at certain places? After removing it, disappear. Well, just leave the shield off. I would say it's not really necessary nowadays. And the S drive bootloader. Oh. I was really surprised to find that the drive mounts in S drive don't survive a reboot. I found that strange. So you mount or launch an ATR from the bootloader, and it isn't. If you then reboot into Sparta-DOS X, for example, the drive isn't mounted anymore. I found that very odd. But I will review this. I will review it. I was actually asked to write a new menu for the S drive square, but God, yeah, it'd be no exaggeration to say that I haven't got a clue where to begin with that. This machine's had a bit of a bump. Oh dear, oh dear. We've got a couple of punched out screw holes here. I didn't notice this when I took it out of the box. I just suppose it's fair enough. These are going to have to be glued back in. This has taken a bit of a hit in transit, and that would explain why the GTI chip had popped out of the socket. I'm probably lucky that that's all that's happened. Well, we might as well fix these now. Get the trusty nail glue. I don't know why I've got this fan on. I'll turn it off. I'm not even soldering anything. Right, let's fix these before we do anything else. What I'm going to do here is run a little bit of super glue just around the damage. Pretty much the best I can do at the moment. I've planned to move config to SD card itself and read it when S drive start without accessing bootloader. So, right, so if you, because I'm not really familiar with the S drive, and as I say, I sort of expressed an interest in writing a new menu for it when the developer and another forum member suggested that I should do something like that, so that's how I got my S drive squared. But I'm not really familiar with it. I'm not really familiar with the API or the SIO calls or anything. So when you save the configuration in the menu, does it persist then on subsequent reboots? I should read the manual. Well, I have had a look at the manual, but yeah, it wasn't. The one I looked at wasn't great. So I've stuck that back in there. I'm going to try and do the back one. It's really taking a bit of a hit, this thing. Now, who was that? Parcel Force? Or was it Yodel? I have to mention this to the owner of the machine. Alright. Right. Got to get this spot on. It's quite strong if providing the parts pushed exactly back where it's supposed to be. I'm going to keep that pressed in there. This is a surprisingly common occurrence when things get shipped. If the thing takes a hard enough hit, the mass of the upper half of the case, I'm assuming, the mass of the upper half of the case with a heavy keyboard in it is sufficient to actually pull these screw holes clean out the bottom of the case, which is exactly what's happened here. I wonder if the front one's damaged. I wonder if these been repaired already. Okay, so that seems to be in, and what I would usually do after that is just to reinforce it with a little bit more glue painted around the outside. But this is supposed to be for false nails, but it's perfectly good for this, and I like the fact that you get a brush with it. Obviously I don't use it for my false nails, you know. Okay, really getting off the beaten track here, but might as well fix things as I see them. Right, so this should be reasonably strong when it's dry. The main issue of current implementation is that the config saves to the boot drive and reloads only when the bootloader starts. Ah, right. Yeah, that's weird. That's really weird. That's not the way I imagined it would work at all. I imagined that the mounts would persist regardless of whether you went in the menu or not. That's quite strange. I did mention to the developer that it would be nice if that could be changed, but that's not. Even if I wrote a new menu for it, the menu that I wrote is going to be it's going to be in 6502. It's not going to be the you know, it's not going to affect the logic of the device. So that kind of change would have to happen in the firmware. So, but that is a strange, yeah, kind of odd that. Okay, so that case is fixed. So we'll put that to one side. I suppose we could draw out where we're going to put this. Yeah, we'll have to. Yes. Put this back in. But hopefully not. I should have done this before I put glue in, shouldn't I? Yeah, that was a bit stupid. Yeah, that was a bit dumb. But let's say we're going to line up the USB connector. pretty much here. Kind of like that. Yes, I understand, because it's planned. I move this functionality to the S drive itself. Oh, that would be awesome. That would be excellent. That would solve the whole issue. But I'm going to have to research this, the API of this thing, because I've got no idea. I'm assuming that the menu just sends SIO commands to read fat entries and mount ATRs and stuff. That's the way I would imagine it would work, so I'm going to have to read up on that stuff. But quite whether a sort of a seamless port of the Ultimate 1 megabyte loader, the side loader, is going to really be appropriate, I don't know. The loader itself isn't too bad, the bootloader. I can't even remember what was the main reason that ProWizard suggested a new menu in the first place. Was it something to do with the short fat file names or something, Alexei? I can't remember. There was some shortcoming in that menu that sparked the whole idea. Right, we can probably file this out. Actually, I don't think we need to drum it. Let's have a little look where things are going to line up. Yeah, that's going to be pretty. Yeah, 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 that's going to work. That's going to work. Files. I should mark off on the board where it's going to go as well. Right. So it's going to go right about there. Oops. There we go. So Alexei, I'm interested in I haven't really spoken to you about it, but when you designed the S drive squared, did you basically have to port the AtMega source code and port it to, well, an ARM chip, obviously? So did you basically re-implement the whole thing, or was it difficult to port? I just can't see what I'm doing here. Right, how are we getting along? How much bigger does this hole need to be? Not much. Not much. Need a flat file. Hopefully this will fit. Yes, it does. Flat files must be very, very hard to get hold of because the number of Ataris in the world with holes cut in them which have absolutely no finishing on them whatsoever is remarkable. Of course, the secret here is not to take too much off. This side view must look really bad. Just port AtMega code and create SIO and other stuff. Main logic and APIs are the same like in AtMega variant. Excellent. Because I remember I did look at the SIO to SD API. I can't remember when I was looking at this stuff a long time ago, but they had quite a lot of SIO calls for managing long file names and that kind of thing. But I don't think there was any kind of correlation between the SIO to SD and the SIO to anything else. So do you think things like quad density sectors could be implemented as well at the firmware level? Oh, it's tantalizingly close to coming through the hole. I must be mad for doing this live on video because of this. I've just slipped to this and just made it the wrong size. It's extremely embarrassing. Nearly. Let's just check this is still square. Is it square? It's can't. Kind of. Leaning a little bit. Ah, it can be done quite easily. That's excellent. Come on. There we go. Oops. What the hell? Right. Okay, so this is what we've been aiming for. So how about that? What do you think of that? Focus. Focus. Come on. Come on. Come on. Focus. Yay. That's a little, just needs a tiny little bit because it's very tight at the moment. It's too tight at the moment. So when I open that hole up a little bit and square it off properly, that's going to poke through quite nicely. But yeah, I mean, I've done, the first time I did one of those, what do you call them, XM301 modem conversions. I wanted to put an SIO to SD with a screen in one and everything. I mean, I made a mess of it. I completely fucked it up the first time because I cut the hole big enough for the whole screen assembly to go in, and it was a disaster and the whole thing went in the bin. So this, you know, being able to finish things off nicely with a flat file isn't you know, a capability that was, it's not genetic, you know, it takes a bit of practice, but yeah, it makes all the difference. And when I get this smoothed off properly, I'll seal it with acetone as well on a Q-tip for American viewers, a Q-tip and what we call a cotton bud, and it gives that sort of sealed nice finish to the plastic where you've been filing it and cutting it and everything. So anyway, I don't think this is going to take too long, but I will leave the rest of it till the next video, because I don't want to start getting the hot glue out now. So this is gonna, hopefully this should work out okay. This is going to be glued to the main board, and it's when you put the motherboard into the machine, I want it so that it wedges, the USB connector just pops out through this hole in exactly the same way as the SIO connector does. So it's obviously it's going to have to be a little bit more loose, but that's what we will end up with. And then we just jumper everything across the SIO connector, figure out a lighting scheme where we're going to put these LEDs. I've got some 3-color and 4-color LEDs, but a lot depends on whether they're common anode or cathode, because if you've got the wrong type, then it's not really going to work. So I'll have to figure out whether this is common anode or cathode or what. So one's RX, TX, and what? TX and what? MCU. Oh. So RX, TX. So MCU, but is that a programming thing? Oh, okay. So we should easily get this done, finished in a single stream next time. So, excellent. I cleaned up this desk and it's covered in dust again. So, okay, so next video we'll get this thing glued in, wired up, shouldn't take very long, and then we'll test it out with the Ape software, and maybe we'll get time to get onto something else as well. That's probably going to be, it won't be Friday night because we're going out on Friday night to a wedding reception. That'll be a nice change. So it could be Saturday night or it could be Sunday night. More than likely Sunday night. So okay. So thank you for watching, and hopefully this has been of some interest. And as I say, I'll give another plug to Robin's excellent 3D printed cartridges, which I have to hold back here because of the light situation in this room, and also to S Drive Squared, of course, since we have the developer in our midst. We're honoured by his company and tonight's chat, so please show your support to both of those developers and to Brian and his UAV board, which has delivered quite lovely video quality. So yeah, so I'm going to get out of here for the moment. I'm going to have a nice bath and stuff because it's pretty warm in here, and get prepared so that I don't have to mess around before we go out tomorrow night. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you found it interesting, and thanks to everybody in chat, and I will see you in the next video.